What if the smallest coin in your pocket is secretly a hidden fortune waiting to explode in value? Imagine a single wheat penny worth just 1 cent, transforming into thousands, even life-changing money, simply because of its date, condition, or a rare mint mistake. These tiny copper coins from the past are not ordinary currency. They are sleeping treasures. Before you spend one, look twice. You might be holding history worth a fortune. First up, have you ever imagined that a simple copper coin lying quietly in an old drawer could secretly hold the power to change your financial future? A small, ordinary-looking 1951 wheat penny might seem like just another 1 cent coin, but in the world of collectors, condition is everything. The 1951 wheat penny is not just money, it is history pressed into metal. While millions were made, only a tiny fraction survived in extraordinary condition. And when a common coin becomes uncommon because of preservation, rarity in grade, or mint error, its value can shock the world. The idea that a 1 cent coin could reach thousands, even tens of thousands, of dollars feels unbelievable, but the coin market has repeatedly proven that small metal discs can carry massive financial surprises. The 1951 wheat penny was part of the famous Lincoln wheat cent series, first introduced in 1909. By 1951, America was entering the early Cold War period. The design still carried Abraham Lincoln's dignified portrait on the front, while the back displayed the iconic wheat ears framing the words 1 cent. Billions of Americans handled these coins in daily life, buying bread, candy, newspapers. They were ordinary. But today, that ordinary past is what makes them extraordinary. Every 1951 wheat penny carries the spirit of post-war America, a time of rebuilding, ambition, and industrial growth. That historical connection adds emotional value beyond the metal itself. Now here is the truth most people do not realize. The majority of 1951 wheat pennies are worth only a small premium over face value. However, coins in brilliant, uncirculated condition, especially those graded at the very highest levels, can command impressive prices. A 1951 penny that looks as if it just left the mint, with blazing red luster and no visible marks, becomes rare because so few were saved that carefully. Collectors compete fiercely for perfection. When supply becomes microscopic and demand remains strong, prices rise dramatically. That is where the magic begins. The real excitement appears when we talk about mint marks. In 1951, these pennies were struck at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint produced millions of coins, but survival rates in pristine condition vary. Some mint locations produced coins with slightly sharper details or different luster characteristics. Collectors study these differences carefully. A high-grade example from a specific mint can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars if certified at the very top levels. The difference between a worn coin and a flawless one can mean the difference between $1 and several $1,000s. Condition is the silent king of coin value. When collectors describe a coin as mint state, they mean it never circulated in daily commerce. Within mint state grades, tiny differences matter enormously. A coin graded MS-63 might sell for a modest amount, while an MS-67 or higher example can multiply in value dramatically. The 1951 wheat penny in ultra-high grade, especially with full red color preserved, is where serious collectors focus their attention. These are not common finds in pocket change. They are survivors, preserved carefully for decades. There is also the fascinating world of mint errors. Although the 1951 wheat penny is not famous for a single legendary error like some other years, small mistakes can dramatically increase value. Off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or dramatic die cracks can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's prize. Error coins are unique because they are accidents, unplanned and unpredictable. When rarity meets visible imperfection, collectors see opportunity. A rare error in strong condition can push prices far beyond what most people expect from a 1 cent coin. Let's speak honestly about the million-dollar dream. It is extremely rare for a 1951 wheat penny to reach anything close to $1 million. However, in the coin market, extraordinary combinations of rarity, condition, and unique characteristics can create astonishing auction results. While a standard 1951 penny will not make someone a billionaire overnight, a top-condition, perfectly preserved, certified coin can still bring life-changing money for someone who paid only 1 cent decades ago. That possibility is what fuels excitement and keeps collectors searching. One powerful factor that increases value is color. Copper coins change color over time. A freshly minted penny has a bright red appearance. As years pass, it turns red-brown, then brown. Collectors strongly prefer original red examples because they are far more difficult to preserve. A 1951 wheat penny that retains full red brilliance after more than 70 years is rare. That natural aging process works against perfection, which makes surviving red coins extremely desirable and more valuable in high grades. Another reason this coin attracts attention is its position near the end of the wheat penny era. By 1958, the wheat design would be replaced. That means 1951 belongs to the final chapter of a classic American design. Many collectors attempt to complete full sets of Lincoln wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958. When someone builds a high-quality set, they need strong examples from every year, including 1951. This consistent demand supports the coin's value and ensures it will always have collector interest. Psychology also plays a huge role in coin prices. When collectors believe a certain grade is rare, they compete more aggressively at auctions. Competition pushes prices higher. The coin itself does not change, but perception and demand do. If a 1951 wheat penny appears at auction graded at an unusually high level with exceptional eye appeal, multiple bidders may fight for ownership. That emotional competition can multiply the final sale price far beyond conservative estimates. Storage is another hidden factor in value. Many 1951 pennies were stored in jars, boxes, or albums without protection. Over time, moisture, air, and handling caused damage. That is why untouched examples are scarce today. If someone long ago placed a roll of 1951 wheat pennies in a dry, safe environment and never disturbed them, those coins may still shine brilliantly. Finding such a roll today would be like opening a small treasure vault from the past. It is important to understand that grading and authentication matter enormously. A high-value 1951 wheat penny should be professionally graded by a respected third-party grading service. Certification protects both buyer and seller. Without official grading, it is difficult to achieve top market prices. Serious collectors trust certified coins because condition disputes are removed. That trust directly influences value and market strength. The metal content of the 1951 wheat penny is primarily copper, and while copper itself has value, the collectible premium far exceeds metal worth. This is not about melt value. It is about historical preservation, scarcity in top grade, and collector passion. The coin represents more than currency. It represents a specific moment in American history captured in copper. That emotional and historical connection gives it staying power in the market. So can a 1951 wheat penny change your fortune overnight? In most cases, no. But can it be worth far more than 1 cent? Absolutely. In rare, pristine, top-certified condition with exceptional color and eye appeal, it can command impressive sums. The dream of discovering such a coin keeps collectors searching through old jars, inherited collections, and forgotten drawers. Second up, the 1955 wheat penny is not just another coin. It is one of the most dramatic and legendary stories in American coin history. I'm giving you a strong, emotional, fully engaging 14-paragraph script written in my own words, perfect for your YouTube style. Imagine holding a tiny copper coin in your fingers, a coin so small that most people would toss it into a jar without a second thought. Now imagine that same coin being worth thousands, tens of thousands, even life-changing money. The 1955 wheat penny is not an ordinary cent. It is one of the most talked about and electrifying coins ever produced in the United States. What makes it extraordinary is not just its age, not just its design, but a dramatic minting mistake that turned a simple penny into a legend. This coin carries mystery, rarity, and the kind of financial potential that makes collectors' hearts race. The 1955 wheat penny belongs to the famous Lincoln Wheat Cent series, a design that began in 1909 and continued for decades. On the front, the dignified profile of Abraham Lincoln stands strong, while the back proudly displays 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent. By 1955, America was in a time of economic growth and cultural change. Billions of pennies were produced for everyday transactions. They passed through grocery stores, gas stations, school cafeterias. Yet, hidden among those millions were a small number of coins that would become some of the most valuable cents in modern collecting history. The true superstar of 1955 is what collectors call the double die obverse. This error happened during the minting process when the design was impressed onto the coin die more than once, slightly misaligned. The result was dramatic and obvious doubling in the date and lettering on the front of the coin. The numbers in 1955 appear boldly doubled. The words liberty and in God we trust show strong shadow-like duplication. Unlike tiny errors that require magnification, this doubling can be seen clearly with a naked eye. That visibility is what makes it so famous. When these error coins first entered circulation, many people thought they were fake. Some were even returned to banks. But once collectors realized what had happened, excitement exploded. The number of genuine 1955 double-die pennies is small compared to the total mintage of regular 1955 cents. That scarcity instantly created demand. And in the coin world, demand plus rarity equals power. Over time, this coin became one of the most recognized and desired error coins ever produced by the United States Mint. Now let's talk about value, the part that captures imagination. A worn 1955 double-die wheat penny can sell for thousands of dollars. Even in circulated condition, its strong visible doubling keeps demand high. When the coin appears in uncirculated condition, with sharp details and strong original color, the value rises dramatically. In top mint state grades, especially with bright red copper surfaces, auction prices can reach astonishing levels. While it may not realistically reach millions under normal circumstances, its price history proves that this is no ordinary 1-cent coin. Condition plays a massive role in determining price. A coin that traveled through pockets and registers will show wear, scratches, and color darkening. But a coin preserved carefully in rolls or collections may retain its original mint luster. Collectors pay significant premiums for coins graded at high mint state levels. Tiny differences, a mark here, a faint rub there, can mean thousands of dollars in price difference. That is how sensitive the market is for this particular year. Color is another crucial factor. Copper naturally changes over time. A freshly struck penny glows with a bright red shine. As years pass, exposure to air turns it brown. A 1955 double die with full red surfaces after decades is rare and extremely desirable. The combination of strong doubling and preserved red brilliance creates a perfect storm of value. Collectors compete intensely for those examples because they represent both error rarity and visual beauty. It is important to understand that not every 1955 wheat penny is valuable. Millions of normal 1955 cents were produced without the doubling error. Those regular coins are usually worth only modest amounts unless found in very high grade. The key is identifying the dramatic double die feature. Many beginners confuse machine doubling or minor imperfections with the true double die. The authentic error shows bold, clear separation in the lettering. It is unmistakable once you know what to look for. The story of this coin also carries psychological energy. Because the doubling is so obvious, it fascinates people who are new to coin collecting. You do not need expensive equipment to see it. That accessibility has made it legendary. Generations of collectors grew up hearing about the famous 1955 doubled penny. That long-standing fame increases its desirability. In collectibles, reputation matters. A coin that everyone recognizes often maintains stronger demand than one that is rare but unknown. Authentication is critical. Due to its popularity, counterfeit versions exist. If someone believes they have a 1955 double-die penny, professional grading and certification are essential. A certified example gives buyers confidence and allows the coin to achieve its full market potential. Without authentication, even a genuine coin may struggle to reach top value because serious collectors demand verification. The idea of becoming a billionaire overnight from this coin is thrilling, but realism is important. While this penny is sold for impressive sums, its value depends heavily on authenticity, condition, and market timing. It is one of the most valuable Lincoln cents of the 1950s, but only specific error examples reach high price levels. Still, imagine finding one in pocket change decades ago and keeping it safe. That single cent could grow into a small fortune compared to its original face value. Beyond money, the 1955 wheat penny represents something deeper. It shows how human error can create unexpected treasure. A simple mechanical misalignment at the mint produced one of the most celebrated coins in American history. What was once considered a mistake became a masterpiece of rarity. That transformation from flaw to fortune is part of what makes coin collecting so powerful and emotional. Collectors continue searching through old jars, estate collections, and inherited coin albums hoping to discover this legendary penny. Even today, stories occasionally surface of people finding one hidden among ordinary coins. That possibility keeps the dream alive. It reminds us that value can hide in plain sight, disguised as something common and overlooked. So if you ever come across a 1955 wheat penny, do not rush to spend it. Examine the date carefully. Look closely at the lettering. If you see strong, bold doubling that jumps out at your eyes, you may be holding one of the most famous era coins ever produced. The 1955 double-die wheat penny is proof that even a 1-cent coin can command extraordinary respect, serious money, and a legendary place in history. Third up, imagine reaching into an old wooden drawer, brushing aside dust, and discovering a small copper coin dated 1948. At first glance, it looks ordinary, just another old penny from the past. But what if that simple 1-cent coin carried hidden potential? What if it quietly survived decades of circulation, wars, economic shifts, and family generations, only to become a collectible treasure today? The 1948 wheat penny may not scream wealth at first sight, but in the right condition, under the right circumstances, it can command impressive value and ignite the imagination of collectors everywhere. The 1948 wheat penny belongs to the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, a design that began in 1909 and continued until 1958. By 1948, the world was recovering from the devastation of World War II. America was entering a new era of growth and rebuilding. Factories were shifting from wartime production back to consumer goods. The economy was stabilizing. In that atmosphere of transition, millions of 1948 pennies were struck and released into circulation. They passed through the hands of workers, families, shopkeepers, and children buying candy. Yet among those millions, only a small percentage would survive in exceptional condition. The design itself carries powerful symbolism. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's calm and thoughtful portrait represents unity and resilience. On the back, 2 simple wheat stalks frame the denomination, symbolizing prosperity and agricultural strength. This classic wheat design gives the coin a nostalgic beauty that modern coins often lack. For collectors, nostalgia adds emotional value. Holding a 1948 wheat penny feels like touching a piece of post-war American history, a time when optimism slowly replaced uncertainty. Now here is the truth many people overlook. Most 1948 wheat pennies are common in circulated condition. Coins that show heavy wear, dark brown surfaces, and softened details usually carry only modest premiums above face value. But the real story begins when we talk about condition. A 1948 penny that never entered circulation, one that still shines with original mint luster, is a completely different story. Scarcity in high grade transforms an ordinary coin into a collector's prize. In 1948, pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint produced large quantities, but survival rates in pristine condition vary. Over time, most coins were spent, scratched, dropped, and exposed to moisture. Finding an example today that remains sharply struck, clean, and radiant is far more difficult than many imagine. That rarity and preservation drives collector demand. When collectors compete for the finest known examples, prices can rise dramatically. Color plays a critical role in copper coin value. A freshly struck penny glows with a bright red surface. As years pass, natural oxidation turns it red-brown and eventually deep brown. Collectors highly prize coins that retain their full original red color. A 1948 wheat penny with blazing red brilliance after more than 70 years is scarce. When such a coin is graded at a high mint state level and labeled as full red, its market value can multiply many times over compared to a brown example. Grading is where small differences create huge financial gaps. A coin graded mint state 63 may look beautiful to the average eye, yet a mint state 67 example can be dramatically rarer. Tiny contact marks, faint hairlines, or dull luster can separate a good coin from an elite one. The highest grade 1948 wheat pennies are limited in number because so few were carefully preserved from the start. Those top-tier survivors attract serious collectors willing to pay strong prices. There is also the fascinating possibility of mint errors. Although 1948 is not famous for one legendary error like some other years, small production mistakes do exist. Off-center strikes, doubled impressions, clipped planchets, and die cracks can increase desirability. Error coins are unpredictable and often unique. When an error appears on a 1948 penny and is combined with strong condition, it creates an unusual and collectible piece that stands apart from ordinary examples. Let's address the dream of million-dollar value. Realistically, a typical 1948 wheat penny will not reach millions of dollars. However, in the rarest high-grade certified condition, especially with exceptional eye appeal and red surfaces, prices can become impressive within the coin market. The idea of turning 1 cent into thousands is powerful enough. The overnight billionaire dream fuels excitement, but true wealth in coins comes from rarity, patience, and knowledge rather than fantasy. What makes the 1948 wheat penny especially appealing is its place in the timeline. It represents the immediate post-war era, a turning point in global history. Collectors who build full Lincoln wheat penny sets must include 1948. That steady demand keeps the coin relevant. Even if it is not the rarest year, it remains an essential part of a complete collection. Essential coins maintain long-term interest. Storage history dramatically impacts value. Many 1948 pennies were tossed into jars or stored loosely in boxes where they developed scratches and discoloration. But imagine someone in 1948 saving a fresh roll directly from the bank and placing it untouched in a dry, safe place. Decades later, that roll could contain coins in near-perfect condition. Discoveries like that occasionally enter the market and excite collectors because they represent time capsules from another era. Authentication and professional grading are extremely important for high-value coins. A certified 1948 wheat penny graded by a respected third-party service gives buyers confidence. Without certification, even a beautiful coin may struggle to achieve maximum price because condition disputes can arise. Serious collectors rely on grading standards to determine true market worth. Another factor influencing value is overall collector demand for classic copper coins. The Lincoln Wheat series has one of the strongest followings in American numismatics. Generations of collectors grew up searching through pocket change for wheat pennies. That emotional connection continues today. When demand remains strong and top-condition supply remains limited, prices stay supported and sometimes increase over time. So if you ever find a 1948 wheat penny, do not dismiss it too quickly. Examine its surfaces. Look at its color. Check for sharp details and strong luster. If it appears unusually well preserved, it may be far more valuable than you expect. While it may not instantly make someone a billionaire, a rare high-grade example can certainly transform a single cent into a remarkable collector's treasure. The 1948 wheat penny proves that history, condition, and patience can turn the smallest coin into a symbol of hidden opportunity waiting quietly to be discovered. Fourth up, close your eyes and imagine holding a simple 1944 wheat penny between your fingers. It looks small, ordinary, even insignificant. But what if that tiny copper coin was hiding a secret powerful enough to shock collectors around the world? What if that 1 cent, once used to buy candy during wartime America, could today be worth thousands, or in rare cases, life-changing money? The 1944 wheat penny is not just another coin. It is a survivor from one of the most intense periods in world history, and in certain rare forms, it has become one of the most legendary pennies ever discovered. To understand its importance, we must step back into 1944. The world was still in World War II. The United States was deeply involved in the conflict, and metal was critical for the war effort. In 1943, pennies were made from steel to conserve copper. But in 1944, the mint returned to copper composition, using recycled wartime shell casings. That means most 1944 pennies were struck from metal that may have once been part of military ammunition. Think about that transformation from battlefield material to everyday pocket change. That alone gives the 1944 wheat penny a powerful historical identity. Now here is where the story becomes explosive. While most 1944 pennies were made from copper, a tiny number were mistakenly struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943. These rare 1944 steel wheat pennies are among the most famous error coins in American history. Instead of the usual copper color, they appear silver gray like the 1943 steel cents. This happened because a few steel blanks were accidentally left in the presses when production switched back to copper. That simple oversight created one of the rarest and most valuable Lincoln cents ever known. The rarity of the 1944 steel penny cannot be overstated. Only a very small number are believed to exist. When one appears in a market and is authenticated, It creates intense excitement. Because of its extreme scarcity and dramatic backstory, it is sold for very high prices at auction. This is where the dream of unimaginable wealth comes alive. A genuine 1944 steel wheat penny in strong condition is not just valuable, it is legendary. It represents a minting accident that turned into treasure. But not every 1944 penny is steel. In fact, the overwhelming majority are copper. Those standard copper 1944 wheat pennies are common in circulated condition. Many are worth modest premiums. However, value increases dramatically in high mint state grades. A copper 1944 penny that has never been circulated, with sharp details and bright red surfaces, becomes far more desirable. Condition is the dividing line between ordinary and extraordinary. Color is critical for copper coins. Freshly minted copper shines with a bright red glow. Over time, oxidation turns it brown. Collectors pay strong premiums for coins that retain original red brilliance. A 1944 copper wheat penny graded at a very high mint state level with full red color can command impressive prices. The combination of historical importance, strong demand, and beautiful preservation creates serious market interest. Mint marks also matter. In 1944, pennies were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint produced large quantities, but survival rates in top condition differ. High-grade examples from certain mints can be more difficult to find. When collectors compete for the finest known examples, auction prices can climb dramatically. Even small differences in surface quality can separate a coin worth a small premium from one worth thousands. The steel era version, however, stands in a different category. Its value is not just about condition, but about extreme rarity. Because so few were made, every genuine example is a prize. Authentication is absolutely essential. Counterfeits and altered coins exist because of the coin's fame. A real 1944 steel wheat penny must be carefully examined and certified by professional grading experts. Without authentication, value cannot be trusted. The psychology behind this coin adds even more power. It connects two dramatic years, 1943 steel and 1944 copper. The accidental mixing of those years created rarity. Collectors love transitional errors, coins struck during a change in metal or design. These moments in mint history produce mistakes that were never meant to happen. That unpredictability creates fascination, and fascination drives demand. The dream of becoming a billionaire overnight from a 1944 penny is thrilling, but reality requires balance. Only the rare steel era examples reach extremely high values. Regular copper versions, while collectible, do not reach millions under normal circumstances. Yet even turning 1 cent into thousands of dollars is an extraordinary return. The possibility of discovering such a coin keeps treasure hunters searching through old jars and inherited collections. Storage history plays a huge role in value. Many 1944 pennies were heavily circulated during wartime and post-war years. They show scratches, wear, and discoloration. But occasionally, someone saved fresh rolls directly from the bank. If those rolls were stored carefully for decades, they may contain coins in remarkable condition today. Discoveries like that create waves of excitement in the collector community. Grading standards are strict at the highest levels. Tiny marks invisible to casual observers can lower a coin's grade. A difference of 1 grade point can mean a dramatic change in price. That is why serious collectors study surface preservation, luster quality, strike sharpness, and eye appeal. In elite grades, a 1944 copper penny can command strong premiums, especially with full red color and flawless surfaces. Beyond money, the 1944 wheat penny represents resilience and transformation. It was born during war, struck from recycled materials, and carried through a nation rebuilding itself. In rare steel form, it represents a mistake that became a masterpiece of rarity. In copper form, it symbolizes a return to normalcy after emergency production changes. That dual identity makes it one of the most fascinating pennies ever produced. So if you ever find a 1944 wheat penny, look closely before spending it. Test its color. A steel appearance could signal something extraordinary. Examine its condition. Sharp details and bright luster may indicate hidden value. While not every 1944 penny will change your life overnight, the rare steel era has already proven that even a 1-cent coin can reach astonishing heights. The 1944 Wheat Penny reminds us that history, accident, and preservation can combine to turn a simple copper coin into a legend of unimaginable potential. Fifth up, imagine holding a simple 1953 Wheat Penny in your hand, a small copper coin that most people would ignore without a second thought. It looks ordinary, maybe slightly worn, maybe darkened with age. But what if that tiny 1-cent coin carried hidden power? What if, under the right condition, it could be worth far more than anyone around you suspects? The 1953 Wheat Penny is not just spare change from the past. It is a piece of American history, a survivor from a different era, and in rare circumstances, it can command impressive value in today's collector market. The year 1953 sits in a fascinating period of American history. The world was adjusting to post-World War II realities. Industries were booming, families were growing, and the economy was expanding. During this time, millions upon millions of wheat pennies were struck for everyday commerce. These coins were used in grocery stores, bus fares, vending machines, and school cafeterias. They were never meant to be rare or precious. They were tools of daily life. And yet, time has a way of turning the ordinary into the collectible. The 1953 Wheat Penny carries the classic Lincoln design that began in 1909. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's profile reflects strength and stability. On the back, 2 wheat stalks frame the denomination, symbolizing growth and prosperity. This design had already become deeply familiar to Americans by the 1950s. But what makes 1953 interesting is not the design itself. It is the survival of high-quality examples in a world where most coins were heavily circulated and worn down. In 1953, pennies were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint produced large numbers, meaning the coin is common in worn condition. If you find a heavily circulated 1953 wheat penny today, it will usually carry modest value. But the story changes dramatically when condition improves. The coin market rewards preservation. A 1953 penny that somehow escaped circulation and remained untouched for decades becomes far more desirable than one that passed through thousands of hands. Condition is everything in coin collecting. A circulated 1953 penny may show scratches, dull surfaces, and faded detail. But an uncirculated example, one that still shines with original mint luster, enters a completely different category. In high mint state grades, especially those with minimal contact marks and sharp details, the value increases significantly. The higher the grade, the fewer examples exist. And when supply shrinks at the top, competition grows. Color is another powerful factor. Copper coins change over time. A freshly minted penny glows with a bright red tone. As years pass, it slowly turns red-brown and eventually dark brown. Collectors place strong premiums on coins that retain full original red color. A 1953 wheat penny graded at a high mint state level with blazing red surfaces is much rarer than a brown example. That color preservation can multiply the coin's value several times over. Now let's talk about the dream of million-dollar condition. Realistically, a standard 1953 wheat penny does not reach millions of dollars. However, in extremely high certified grades, where only a tiny number exist, auction prices can reach impressive levels. When a coin is among the finest known examples for its year and mint, collectors compete aggressively. That competition can drive prices far beyond what most people expect for a 1-cent coin. While not billionaire-level wealth, the jump from 1 cent to thousands is extraordinary. There is also the possibility of mint errors. Although 1953 is not famous for one dramatic headline error like some other years, small double dies, repunched mint marks, or striking irregularities can increase value. Error coins are fascinating because they represent moments when the minting process did not go perfectly. Those imperfections, when rare and visually clear, can transform a common coin into something special and collectible. The psychology of collectors plays a huge role in value. Many collectors attempt to build complete sets of Lincoln wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958. To complete those sets in high grade, they must acquire strong examples of every year, including 1953. That steady demand keeps interest alive. When collectors aim for top population coins, the finest certified examples, they may pay substantial premiums just to secure the best. Another hidden factor is storage history. Many 1953 pennies were stored loosely in jars or drawers where they developed scratches and dull surfaces. But occasionally, someone saved original bankrolls and stored them carefully in a dry, stable environment. Decades later, those coins may emerge in remarkable condition. When such untouched examples appear in the market, they generate excitement because they represent true time capsules. Professional grading and authentication are essential for high-value coins. A certified 1953 wheat penny in a top mint state grade gains credibility in the marketplace. Buyers trust independent grading because it confirms authenticity and condition. Without certification, even a beautiful coin may not achieve its full potential price. In the competitive world of coin auctions, trust directly affects value. It is important to stay realistic. The phrase becoming a billionaire overnight is powerful and exciting, but true coin wealth comes from rarity and preservation, not fantasy. A normal circulated 1953 wheat penny will not change your life. But a superbly preserved, high-grade red example could certainly surprise you with its worth. The difference between common and rare often lies in tiny details invisible to the untrained eye. Beyond financial value, the 1953 wheat penny carries emotional and historical significance. It connects us to a time of early television, classic cars, and post-war optimism. It traveled through an America that was rapidly changing. That historical connection gives it lasting appeal. Coins are more than metal. They are witnesses to history, small artifacts that survive decades of human activity. So if you ever come across a 1953 wheat penny, pause before spending it. Examine its surfaces. Look at its color. Check its sharpness and luster. While most will be modestly valued, a rare high-grade survivor could hold surprising potential. The 1953 wheat penny proves that even the smallest denomination can carry a powerful story, and sometimes, under the right conditions, that story can translate into remarkable collector value. Sixth up, close your eyes and imagine America in 1935. The Great Depression still weighed heavily on families. Jobs were scarce, money was tight, and every single cent truly mattered. Now imagine a small copper coin from that exact year, a 1935 wheat penny, resting quietly in your palm. At the time it was struck, it may have bought a piece of candy or contributed to a loaf of bread. No one who handled it imagined that decades later collectors would study it, grade it, and sometimes pay impressive amounts for it. That tiny coin is not just metal. It is a survivor from one of the most challenging economic periods in American history. The 1935 wheat penny belongs to the famous Lincoln Wheat Cent series introduced in 1909. On the front stands Abraham Lincoln's portrait, calm and dignified. On the reverse, two wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent, symbolizing agricultural strength and national growth. By 1935, this design had already become familiar across the country. Billions of these coins circulated during difficult times, passing from hand to hand in grocery stores, markets, and train stations. Each 1935 penny absorbed the wear and emotion of a struggling nation trying to rebuild itself. In that year, pennies were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Production numbers were substantial, meaning the coin is not rare in worn condition. If you find a heavily circulated 1935 wheat penny today, it will typically carry modest value above face. But the real excitement begins when we talk about preservation. Coins that survived in exceptional condition from that era are far less common than many people assume. During the Depression, few people had the luxury to save brand new coins carefully. Condition is the silent engine that drives value. A circulated 1935 penny may show flattened details, scratches, and dark brown coloring. But an uncirculated example, one that never experienced daily commerce, enters a completely different category. Sharp lines in Lincoln's hair, strong detail in the wheat stalks, and original mint luster shining across the surface can dramatically increase desirability. In higher mint state grades, especially the finest certified examples, scarcity becomes very real. Color is crucial with copper coins. Freshly minted pennies glow with a bright red surface. Over decades, exposure to air turns them red-brown and eventually deep brown. Collectors strongly prefer coins that retain full original red color. A 1935 wheat penny with blazing red luster, after nearly a century, is far rarer than a brown example. That preservation of color can multiply its market value significantly, especially when paired with a high numerical grade. Now let's speak honestly about the dream of million-dollar wealth. A standard 1935 wheat penny does not realistically reach millions of dollars. However, in extremely high certified grades, especially among the very finest known examples, prices can become surprisingly strong within the coin market. The jump from 1 cent to thousands of dollars is already astonishing. The idea of overnight billionaire wealth is exciting storytelling, but the real power of this coin lies in condition rarity, not fantasy. There is also the possibility of mint errors. Though 1935 is not famous for a single headline-grabbing error like some other years, coins from this era can display double dies, die cracks, or repunched mint marks. When such features are visible and authenticated, they add collector interest and sometimes significant premiums. Error coins are fascinating because they represent unintended moments in the minting process, small mechanical events that create long-term rarity. One powerful factor influencing 1935 wheat penny value is its historical context. Coins from the Great Depression era carry emotional weight. Collectors often feel a strong connection to that time period. Holding a 1935 penny feels like holding a piece of survival history. That emotional connection fuels demand, especially among collectors who specialize in early 20th century coinage. Storage history matters enormously. Many 1935 pennies were heavily used because money was scarce and constantly moving. Few people set aside fresh rolls. That is why high-grade examples are more difficult to locate today. If someone did save uncirculated rolls in a dry, safe place, those coins become time capsules. When discovered decades later, they can enter the market as premium quality survivors, drawing serious attention. Grading and authentication are critical for achieving strong value. Professional certification confirms both authenticity and condition. In higher mint state grades, tiny marks invisible to casual observers can affect price dramatically. A difference of 1 grade point can mean a large shift in market value. That precision is why collectors rely heavily on independent grading standards. The psychology of competition also plays a role. When collectors build complete Lincoln Wheat penny sets from 1909 to 1958, they must include 1935. 4 basic sets. Circulated coins are easy to obtain. But for high-grade registry sets, top-quality examples are limited. When only a few coins reach elite grades, competitive bidding can drive prices higher than expected. Scarcity at the top creates intensity. Another aspect that adds quiet strength to the 1935 penny is longevity. It has survived nearly 90 years. Every scratch, every tone change, every preserved luster patch tells a story. Coins are not just currency, they are witnesses. This penny witnessed bread lines, economic recovery programs, and the slow rebuilding of American industry. That story cannot be recreated. It is embedded in the metal itself. So if you ever discover a 1935 wheat penny, do not rush to dismiss it. Examine its detail. Study its color. Check for luster and sharpness. Most examples will carry modest value, but a superbly preserved high-grade red coin could command impressive collector prices. While it may not transform you into a billionaire overnight, it absolutely proves that even a 1-cent coin from a difficult era can grow into a meaningful and sometimes valuable piece of history. The 1935 wheat penny stands as a reminder that true worth often hides quietly inside the smallest pieces of past.